Okay, what this episode is going to be about is how to set your mirrors correctly. And we're going to show you the advanced method of setting your mirror so that you get a much better panoramic view of what's going on around you. And to a very large extent, you eliminate blind spots in your immediate driving environment, because that's the area when the cars are closest to you and the bicycles and motorcyclists are closest to you that they create problems for you. So if you can get your mirrors to increase your view around the car instead of focusing in behind your car, then you're going to be able to see the dangers that approach you much better. And we just don't believe in this story that the door handles are dangerous. I've been driving now for 40 years now, and I've never seen a door handle jump out and hit a car, and not even any of my own door handles. Isn't that amazing? All this time, and door handles never posed a danger to my driving. So it kind of begs the question as to why we should be watching them. I wonder if anybody's thought about that. But anyway, I mean, we all tend to set our mirrors to watch the door handles. I hope that by the time of the end of this series, you will be sufficiently convinced to advance your driving to the point where you don't watch those dangerous door handles anymore. Okay, when we're driving on the road, the one problem that we've always got is that the moment the car sets off, the moment the car starts to move forward, it's also moving backwards. And the question is, how is that possible? Well, it's really simple, because if your car is only moving forward, it means you're going faster than everybody else on the road. And what happens is, the moment we start to move, we start encountering traffic from behind. And we have people on motorcycles, bicycles, runners, all sorts of people, maybe overtaking us when we're in traffic or when we're coming up to a junction to turn left. And a lot of cyclist accidents happen because the cyclist will try to undertake the vehicle as it starts to want to turn left. So we have to be continually aware of what's going on behind us. We continually have to update our information and know what is coming from behind and what is trying to overtake us. And that means that if we're looking forward and getting all this information from the front, we must also be thinking of all this other stuff that's coming from behind, because we are going to be slower than some other people on the road. We're either thinking it's safer to drive a little bit slower because of a lot of traffic, and then the motorcyclist who's got a pizza guy on top of it and wants to deliver as quickly as possible has a death wish and tries to overtake you as you're trying to turn right. How many times that has happened to me is unbelievable. And then you also have the really intolerant person who you've got to watch out for. You're a little bit slow, or you're with a learner and you're turning right into a junction, and they will actually undercut you while you're turning right to get into that same junction. Now, how good an example that is to the learner is obviously questionable, but I mean, that is to me just utter stupidity. But anyway, we live with that. So don't think that not knowing what's going on behind you, or not checking your mirrors at that moment when you're about to turn right or about to turn left, you might do it a million times, and just once out of that time, or million times, it actually saves your life or saves somebody else's life, because that's what we're there. We're selfish drivers. We need to really, really keep ourselves safe. If we are safe, it means everybody else around us is also safe, because the safer we drive in terms of our own selves, the safer we drive for everybody else on the road as well. Now, the proper way to set your mirrors is, first of all, obviously the center mirror is pretty much set in stone. We're trying to cover as much of that back window as we can and balancing the size of the two mirrors with each other. So we're balancing the back window and the size. Okay, so we've got the back window set up, and then what we want to try and do is, when we set this main mirror, we want to put our hand at the top and bottom of the main mirror, and we adjust it by using, but we must sit in our driver position, and we normally use our left hand to do that with. So we use our left hand and we adjust this mirror so that we've got the mirror frames the back window as best we can. So that gives us a really nice view of what's going on behind us. Now, to set your side mirrors correctly, I have found that the best way to do that is you have to set your right hand mirror so that when you're leaning to the side with your head almost against the glass, you see just see the dangerous, the most prominent dangerous door handle. And then when you go back into your driving position, you're not going to be able to see any of the side of the car. When you've got this situation where you've set your side mirrors to watch these dangerous door handles, setting it correctly, what you would do, and I want you to take note of this because this is a really interesting situation. On the very far right, you can't see anything there, right? But actually there is a car there. There is actually a car there. So now when I lean over to the side, so I can just see the side of the car, my head is now right up against the window, and I set this mirror so that it is just watching that dangerous door handle at the extremity of my car. And I now go back to my driving position. Just watch what happens. I'm now in my driving position. You can actually see that car, which is in the area which would be regarded as a blind spot. Now, setting your mirrors incorrectly, that car would not be visible. But setting your mirrors correctly makes that car visible. And the beauty about this, and this is a good way to look at it, we still have an overlap. If you look in the side mirror from my driver position, you can see that this white line on the mirror, that little white line on the mirror there, that first white line of the center line as you approach the end of the road, is visible there in the side of the mirror. On the left hand side of this mirror, that white line is visible. Now if we turn and we look at our main mirror, so there you can just see that little white line leading up to the end of the road is visible in the main mirror. So there is overlap between this main mirror and the side mirror when it's set correctly. And if we wanted to see the dangerous door handles, we would just lean over and we could be watching the dangerous door handles just in case they get out of order and create havoc for us. So we are here, we can see we've got overlap, we've got this overlap there, we've got that little white line there, the end of that white line, leading up to the end of the road. And it is visible in this main mirror from the driver position, in normal driver position as well. Similarly, when you set the left-hand mirror, you have to lean over so that your head is more or less in line, the side of your head is more or less in line with the center of your car. And then again, you set that out so that you can just see the most prominent dangerous door handle. And that always gives you the advantage that when the door handles get dangerous, you can just lean over and watch them and see what they're up to. In this case, we've got, from the driver position, we can see we're watching these dangerous door handles here. So in your normal driver position, you'd be looking at dangerous door handles, which means your mirror is actually turned, your mirror has been turned inwards too much. Now, what we want to do is we want to set that mirror, and I'm looking from the driver's position, so that I lean over, so that I am further over, so that I'm nicely in the center, and now I can see lots of the car. Now I set the mirror outwards, so I can just see the door handle on the left hand side. And you will note that on the left hand side now, a tree has come into view which wasn't in view before when we were looking at the dangerous door handles in our driving position. Now when I go back, I want to identify something to check my overlap. So what we would do is look for something on the inside extremity of the mirror, which in this case is this green bag here, this green bag on the inside extremity of the mirror. That green bag has got to be visible in our main mirror when we're in our normal driving position. And if we go back and we look in our main mirror, in our normal driving position, on the very left hand side of our main mirror, we can see the green bag over there. There's the green bag on the left hand side of our main mirror and we know that we now have overlap as well, and we have set our left-hand mirror out so that we've got a greater panoramic view. When you sit in your normal driving position, you wouldn't be able to see any of the side of the car, and your mirrors are now set to look into those dangerous areas which are next to your car. If you do need to see some of the road behind you, just a slight lean over and you can watch the door handles and you're quite fine, and it's, you know, for reversing or whatever. But now you've got a much bigger panorama of view around you, and things come into view which weren't in view before. We have to continually be watching our mirrors. So the main thing is that when you change direction, in other words, when you're going to go left or right, or the road changes direction for you in a situation where, for instance, you get a merging situation, you need to continually be updating yourself about what's going on around you. The more you know about what's going on behind you, the safer you're going to be, because as we said earlier, you are driving in two directions. When your car is moving forward, it's always moving backwards as well. So we've got to be sure that we know what's coming from behind at all times. Never a situation you don't want a gap in that knowledge, because if things are coming at us from behind, then just as much things are coming at us from the front while we're going forward. We have this constant two-way consideration that we have to be busy with while we're driving. And it goes to the point where we're slowing down to stop. It is at the point when we're going to be turning right, when we're going to be changing lanes. And it's always, the process is always mirrors first. Always mirrors first. Now, if you're continually updating your mirrors, it means when you have to make a decision, whether that's in an emergency or just in your normal driving, you're going to have information to work with. So for that reason, one eye is always checking this mirror. The other times you're looking in the mirrors, the directions you want to go. But this is really important, following what's going on behind and coming from behind, because if something is approaching you from behind, it's either going to go on past you on the left or on the right. And you need to know that. You need to be aware that there is that potential danger. Slowing down, you need to know if the guy in the van behind you is actually eating his sandwich or not, or texting. Texting on his mobile. He's having some quiet screen time while he's hunting down the road at 70 miles an hour on the highway. You want to know he's doing that, because you need to know. You've got to sidestep him. And often get asked the question by students, how do I know that when someone is behind me, how do I alert them that I'm going to be braking? Increase your gap to whatever obstacles you have in front of you. React over a longer period of time. Don't drive up and suddenly stop. Start stopping early, and you've always got your horn. When you horn somebody, you can give a really irritated horn. Invariably, it makes somebody look. So that is also potential that you can use to alert people behind you that they need to be looking at what's going on the road in front of them. Happy driving. Don't watch the door handles. They ain't dangerous, I promise you.
What?
Thank you for watching. This has been an incredible journey with you, and I'm hoping that you've learned something new today.